All right, we are live and welcome back to the Be Real, Get Real podcast hosted by Women's Prosperity Network. I'm your host, Nancy Matthews. And this podcast is about sharing real stories of real women who have been through the magical journey of life on all the many hills that it takes. And today's guest is somebody I just recently met at an event, Dr. Trish Murray, and she's going to be sharing with us today about navigating life's pivots, the ones that we want and the ones that can be thrust upon us. And I know that you're going to really learn a lot from her story and her journey and everything that she's up to today. So let me share a little bit about her background with you, and then we will dive in. So Patricia Murray, DO, is a highly accomplished physician who's been certified in 4 different medical specialties, including internal medicine, osteopathic, manipulative medicine, energy medicine, and functional medicine. All of this has made her an expert at meeting the health needs of the 21st century. It's true, we need a new way of doing things when it comes to that. Following a decade-long career in public education, Dr. Trish completed medical school in the top 10% of her graduating class at the age of 38 years old. She became set on her life path after a personal injury as an athlete at a young age that traditional medicine and medical therapies just couldn't help. And in experiencing the anguish of losing her mom to Alzheimer's disease long before she physically died, Trish realized she had to take responsibility for her own health. Her mission has been to seek and accumulate the knowledge necessary to heal and to prevent the path of her genetics. I'm going to dive in right now. You can get in touch with her. You'll see the links to reach out to Dr. Trish. And I want to start by saying thank you for not settling and carving out a path through your many pivots in life to provide so many great solutions for people. So I honor you, and I'm grateful that you're here today.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Yeah, you're welcome. You and I met at an event, and you shared just a little bit of your story with me. And that's where we got into talking about pivots. And so describe for our audience, how do you define a pivot?
Well, a pivot is, for me, is, as you said, things sometimes are thrust upon you in the essence of, again, for me, I was only 18, 19 years old and a relatively elite athlete. And I was playing lacrosse one day and I went to cut for a ball, but it was wet out, it was raining, and my cleat didn't catch. And I herniated a disc at the base of my spine at that very moment. And, at that age, it's just devastating. But, you pick yourself up and you take all your support systems and you work with them and you never give up.
Okay, well, I want to go back just for a little bit. And it was a while ago, but I'm sure you remember most of this because it was a pretty monumental experience that you had. So you're 18, 19, you're in high school, you're already in college, or you had this path mapped out of what your career was going to be.
Oh yeah, I was at NYU, New York University, and studying to become a teacher and getting ready to do student teaching. And I was in Manhattan, and I needed to be able to get to work and do these things. And it's just, the pain, I remember being devastating. I had radiating pain down my leg, like a sciatica people have maybe heard of. Yep. And it didn't happen every minute of the day, of course, but it was happening regularly. And just devastating in the idea of, I'm young, I'm usually strong and healthy, and all of a sudden you're just not.
So, and as you were in your recovery phase from the injury and going through traditional medical therapies, did they give you a prognosis that you'd be able to play sports again, that the pain would go away? I mean, what was your prognosis at that point?
Well, and that's what's sort of, again, interesting in my path, and what's set me up for the type of path I've had, and that every traditional medical doctor I saw had no answers for me, to be honest. I went to surgeons, I went to my primary care, and it was finally a manipulative medicine practitioner, like a chiropractor, an osteopath like I am, that put things back, if you will, into balance, and I was able to function better, and actually able to get back into athletics. I never really played lacrosse again, but one surgeon said to me, strengthen the muscles around the injury. And I'm kind of type A, so I became a competitive bodybuilder to be
Really?
and and learning about diet and how to strengthen and build my body back was the pivot for me to be able to get back on track and back focused and move forward again.
Wow. And so then you went into education. You had a long career in education and decided at some point, so you decided, hey, I'm going to go to medical school at a time when most people are like settled into their career and they're on the 20-30 year plan, like for you to take that on. So how did that come about?
Well, how it worked for me was I loved teaching at first. I was, again, a high school social studies teacher. So my background and training was more in the liberal arts than it was in the sciences. But around 5 or 6 years into teaching and coaching, to be honest, I looked in the mirror and I said, 30 more years of this same sort of thing. And I just wasn't quite where I felt I wanted to be. And so I said, well, what do I want to do? And I had interest, of course, in health, because again, my mom had started developing Alzheimer's. And I really wanted to understand, why is this happening and why does traditional medicine not have answers? And that led me into going back to learn the sciences. So I actually was handed a master's degree on a Saturday when I had started this Tuesday before back in inorganic chemistry as an undergrad to prepare to get the credits I needed to go to medical school.
That's wild. Well, and so you're making it sound really easy to have a full-time job, a mom that's got Alzheimer's. You're making it sound, oh, it was a piece of cake. I just decided to go to medical school. I'm thinking there's more to the story.
No, I mean, again, we all have our personalities, and I will tell you that I am, if I need to be doing something on a regular basis and setting challenges for myself and goals, I'm just that kind of a person. And I've always been a really hard worker. So, for me, I was going to be 40, whether I went back to medical school or kept learning or not. And the bottom line for me is life while I'm in this body and I'm above 6 feet under, I'm going to keep learning. I want to learn everything I possibly can. That's why I'm here. That's why we're all here.
I agree. I knew we had a lot in common, and that's clearly one of the things. It's like, I'm here to learn. I'm here. Like, I always relate my experience on this planet to a tree. A tree is here to just keep growing. And I think human beings are meant to do that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've read your one philosophy and I absolutely love it, because every single patient I see, every single person I meet, every single interaction is meant for the universe to teach us something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for us to learn and to teach and to share. And funny you should say that. So you were going to turn 40 regardless, right? And that's what, around the time you decided to go back to medical school. I decided to go back to law school at the time. And I studied for my LSATs, and then another pivot happened. So I was all set to go to law school, and a pivot happened, and the real estate market took off like so good. And I ended up becoming a mortgage broker, having a title company, buying and selling real estate. So I'm okay that I never became a lawyer, because I really like where I am right now.
Well, Nancy, there's another thing I've learned, because in my energy medicine training, because again, I just keep learning and getting more certificates. But in the energy medicine thing, it's like, there's a kind of a saying, shh, the future is a secret. So, but look for the signs. If you plan everything out and you look ahead and say, from 5 years from now, I'm going to exactly be doing this. What if the universe had a better idea than that?
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think one of the places that people get frustrated or stuck is creating a plan. And I believe we need to make plans and expand, but we can't be so rigidly attached to them that we remove the element of delight that's available to us and surprise. I think that's what I hear you saying.
Absolutely. Delight and wonder And the idea of, wow, maybe it's meant to go to the right rather than quite to the left.
So here's a question then for you in that space. How do we need to make some plan. How do you balance making a plan, with allowing the universe to take care of everything? I mean, it sounds kind of airy-fairy if you just allow the universe to take care of it.
Well, I could give you an example. I mean, right now I'm about to go this weekend to Orly Amore's speaker training boot camp. And, to be honest, I've always been a speaker, but I've never been involved in this business of speaking. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, this has been put in my lap. And it's like, universe has just handed it to me and said, this is your next avenue to go. So my goal is to go to the training and learn this business, get involved and do it. Do I know exactly where my first talk's going to be? Do I know how big a piece of my life this is going to become? No, but I'm sure going to walk through that door and I'm going to go find out.
I love it. I love it. It reminds me of Michael A. Singer, who wrote the book, The Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment. And he talks about just surrendering to the signs that you've referenced, surrendering to those signs along the way. And the hints that we get to know if we're on the right track or in alignment is if it's interesting to us, if it lights you up or has you feel curious. And that's how you ended up on the path of going to medical school. You were interested, you were curious about it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's just it. If you feel, I talk about, it makes my heart sing. If something makes my heart sing, then I'm walking through that door.
Then yes, yeah.
Yeah, your body, your being, your energy is in alignment and it's saying yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, I suspect you and I could go on for a really long time. And I look forward to doing more of that with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And please give Orly my love. She's a true friend and an amazing leader, business person, and woman all around. So I look forward to having her on the show as well. Do me a favor. I know that your business, you're located in New Hampshire, correct?
Yes, I'm in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and it's a beautiful place. But of course, everything we do is also like this. Technology today doesn't mean people only see me from where I am locally. I see folks from all over the country.
So tell us some of the types, because I am thinking, knowing actually, that there's someone listening in or watching this who's going through some type of physical experience that's less than they'd really love, and they're frustrated. They don't know where to go next. And you are that hope for so many people. So what types of things do you help people with now?
Well, first of all, I have written a book called Make a Dent in Chronic Disease, and DENT is an acronym for DENT, detox, exercise, nutrition, and transformation of stress. So if anyone's interested in learning more, that would definitely be the place to start. And as you said, there'll be some links below. But also, as far as what do we deal with, my focus is really around the root cause through functional medicine on chronic problems, whether those be physical problems or emotional problems or metabolic problems. So we deal with inflammation. Inflammation is typically the root cause of so much chronic problem, whether it be pain, anxiety, leaky gut is also another piece of it. So if someone is dealing with traditional medical models and you're tired of the pill for every ill mentality, then either get my book and start there, or if you go to my website, discoverhealthfmc.com, there's a way to sign up for a free 30-minute consult with myself or my health coach on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I can feel your mission, your passion and commitment to share what you learn with others so that they can get out of pain, they can have a better life, that they too can pivot where need be. Sometimes it's a pivot in your health or your habits, sometimes your career, right?
Absolutely. That's the one thing I want people to understand is there is always an answer. You just can't give up, and you just have to keep looking, because the next person you talk to might have the answer you're looking for.
They might be the one.
Yes, absolutely.
And you'll be the one for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one last thing, you shared with me that you've got an amazing retreat experience coming up. So just give a little bit of tidbit about that, and then I'm sure you have information on your website about that as well.
Yes, and I can't tell you how excited I am. This retreat center called Inspired Retreats reached out to me, and they want to do a 5-day retreat in Punta Mita, Mexico. I mean, literally, the surf is breaking at the steps of this facility. And it's all about functional medicine. They are also, of course, have yoga and mud purification ceremonies and all this kind of stuff that's going to go on. But we have been asked to be the keynote speaker on functional medicine. We're going to be doing a workshop on how to help people zoom in and get focused on your own health goals. And then another one on how to align your own spine. That's something I've been doing for myself ever since I injured myself. And I'm now teaching it as a systematic way to do it. So if you're looking for things like that, then definitely check out the links to this retreat. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's in February.
I think I have an event at that time because I was definitely interested. I'm like, ooh, what is that?
Yeah. So it should be pretty exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story, for giving us some lessons on how to pivot. And also, the pivot is about following the signs, listening, and trusting that inspired thought or action or idea that comes in. So thank you so much for today's really rich, real conversation as you shared your story today. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. And if I can make one last point, pivots don't happen overnight. So it's a journey, folks. I didn't immediately decide to go to medical school and leave teaching. I was a teacher, and for 4 years, I prepared and went through the steps to then make that pivot. So on that note, you don't make these changes overnight. You make them slowly. Life is a journey.
Life is a journey. I love it. Thank you for that last bonus tip. I appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely. Well,
thank
you, Nancy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And to all of our audience out there, be sure to download this episode, share it if you liked it. Go ahead and check out Dr. Trish Murray's website, which is discoverhealthfmc.com. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Be Real, Get Real podcast. Real women sharing real stories. Until next time, make it a magical day. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Dr. Trish.
Bye-bye, Nancy. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.